What's up, everybody? Welcome to Biockickz Raw TV. We're going to talk about sweeteners today. We're going to have to revisit this again because I just can't hammer this fact home enough, and it frustrates the shit out of me because, you know, people will hit me up and they'll be like, well, Jerry, what do you think about this? Like this sweetener, diet drinks this and diet drinks that. And they're like, it doesn't contain calories. It doesn't have any macros. And I think everybody looks at things from the standpoint of macros, calories in, calories out, and a lot of people are calories in, calories out. Don't get me wrong. Many people are the macro people like myself, but a lot of people are the calories. If it doesn't have calories, it doesn't count, pretty much, right? It doesn't matter. Just because it doesn't have calories doesn't make it water, okay? It's not like it has nothing in it that, you know, can affect you. Now, the sweeteners, I've had, my personal self, never really had issues with, but I did notice that Kevin Levrone would have me cut them out about 3 days before a show, and my body would tighten up dramatically. Like 4 to 5 pounds of water would come off my body, and that was from the sweeteners themselves. So I kind of stepped back and I was like, I'm not really sure why that's happening. I kind of put it in the back of my mind, but just kind of pushed it off and forgot about it. Then when I was dating Carrie, we saw the sweeteners have the effect on her, which too much of the sweetener, and it wouldn't even be too much considered by like most people. She'd drink her gallon of Crystal Light, which was like normal for a bodybuilder, right? And then she would add literally a single Diet Coke every Friday and have this intestinal distress, we'll call it, right? She had diarrhea. The next day, every week until we figured out what it was. And we just kind of stumbled upon chance to figure it out, cut the Diet Coke out, which had certain amounts of certain sweeteners that put her over the edge. It stopped, right? Fast forward to Erin and I are together, and we're on a trip in Mexico, and she's putting all this sweetener in her sweet tea. Like she drinks unsweetened sweet tea and then sweetens it with the sweeteners. And it's like 2 or 3 packets per glass that she was putting in there multiple times a day, you know, chewing gum, etc. And, you know, I don't know what made her think about it, but she was like, shit, I've been drinking, you're taking in a lot of sweeteners. Let me cut those out. She dropped like 7 pounds that week. I mean, it was dramatic what happened to her. She felt better. She didn't realize that she felt like shit, but she felt better. Fast forward to like this past week, okay? So when Erin's at work, she didn't have a lot of time to eat. A lot of times, literally, she'll be working for like 10 hours, maybe get 1 break in there for 15 minutes to throw some food down. So she would chew gum quite often there. And I noticed that she will, when she starts to stress out, chew gum. After a meal, she likes to chew gum if she can't brush her teeth, stuff like that. Well, I don't know what made her start thinking about it. Both of us recently, especially after you get blood work back, that mine came back recently not so good. You start looking at other things besides the macros and drugs that you're putting in your body that may not necessarily be quote-unquote harmful per se to most people. You can hear Brady like click, click, click all over the place back there. That's what ADD does to you. You get sidetracked. Anyways, she cut out the gum. Now, what I didn't realize was when I go grocery shopping with her, she does buy a lot of gum. She's been chewing quite a bit of gum. Cut the gum out and body tightened up even more dramatically just from the gum, the sweeteners in the gum. So the little things you don't think about that can cause problems in your body, and problems, I mean inflammation. These things are not necessarily poisons per se in the amounts you're taking in. They don't have macros in them. They don't have calories, and they may not necessarily affect your body fat levels. And I don't know why people think body fat levels and body weight are the be-all, end-all of health. But the sweeteners themselves can cause inflammation, as well as, this is the part I don't like, and I continue to try to explain this, they destroy the intestinal bacteria, the good bacteria that helps you digest your foods. It causes things like diarrhea or constipation, one or the other. It goes 2 different fucking ways. It causes bloating of the stomach, which many people don't realize by the end of the day, their stomach is sticking out. Shouldn't be sticking out that far. If you know, when you get up in the morning, by the time you go to bed at night, yes, you should be retaining a little water from the food that you're eating and stuff, but you shouldn't have a giant bloated fucking stomach at the end of the day. And I see a lot of people this happens to, especially the irregularities in going to the bathroom. And I'm like, well, when's the last time you took antibiotics? They're like, oh, it's been years since I took antibiotics. And I start going through shit, and they're drinking all these diet drinks. And I'm like, look, we need to cut these diet drinks out. They absolutely do cause a harmful effect in your body, especially in the higher amounts that people are taking in, because they think no calories, no macros, it doesn't count. It's water. It's not water. You can actually, just because you can't overdose and die on this shit, more likely you'd have to fucking literally sit down and just eat 100 boxes of Equal or something to get fucked up from it and die. Doesn't mean that it's not having a bad reaction in your body. Do I think a can of Diet Coke is going to bother you from time to time? No. Do I think that a glass of Crystal Light is going to bother you? A piece of gum every couple of days is going to bother you? No. However, these things do affect, these sweeteners do affect the way that your body has inflammatory responses. Now, what you don't realize is Erin and I, again, we're going through things, and I just happen to mention off the top of my head that toothpaste contains sodium saccharide. It has a sweetener in it. So it's like, even if you cut out all your sweeteners, you don't think about the things like that. So it's like, if you had the Crystal Light and you're brushing your teeth 3 times a day, and on top of it, you're drinking the Diet Coke, like, you're getting all these sweeteners from all over the place that you're not even realizing. So it's like, you know, they are harmful to the body. Don't get me wrong. They're not going to kill you, but they are harmful to the body. They're not completely harmless. Okay. I don't care what anybody says. The research is there that these things can have harmful effects to your body. And people will say, well, Jerry, if they're harmful, why are they on the market? Alcohol is a poison. You literally can get alcohol poisoning, okay? Literally, you drink enough alcohol in a short period of time, you fucking die, period. That's all there is to it. You know, so it's like, that poison is on the market. Don't think that they wouldn't leave other poisons on the market, especially if it sweetens things and gets you to buy the product because of the fact that it has no calories and no macros, and that's what everybody's been programmed and trained to think. As long as it doesn't count macro-wise and I don't get fat, it's fine to take. And I've seen people literally drink, I'm talking like a 6-pack of these diet sodas a day and barely drink any water. It's like, what do you think is happening to your body? Yes, that's liquid, but you're processing these chemicals. It's the chemicals in the goddamn foods that is messing people up. And I don't think people stop to realize that it's the chemicals that are causing all this, the cancer that's going around. People are like, oh, well, you know, this day and age, listen, this day and age, there's a lot more chemicals in the food. You pick up any food off that store shelf, and I guarantee you there's something in it that you can't pronounce. You don't know what it is. You'd have to look it up. And even when you look it up, it's hard to figure out what it is because they talk in circles about like, oh, it's not harmful, but it may be harmful if you do this. But, oh, but research says, but other studies say. It talks in circles to where you just go, I don't even care anymore. I'm just going to eat it because it tastes good. It's got no macros in it. I don't give a fuck. And that's where this shit kind of stems from, that, you know, these companies are hoping that you're stupid enough to realize putting a chemical in your body, you know, that doesn't have any macros in it is just kind of what the general population does. So, you know, be aware, guys. It's frustrating to me because I don't think that people really, I mean, they don't want to believe. They don't want to believe. They don't want to give up their diet drinks. I mean, literally the only thing I drink is water. You know, that's it. Erin drinks unsweetened tea, which is tea bag brewed into the tea itself, to the water. So there's no chemicals in the tea bags or anything like that. Or she buys the tea anyways. But the bottom line is, like, once you cut these things out, you realize I actually do feel better. An interesting thing was Erin is actually having some aches and pains, like in her joints and stuff. And you just write it off to like, I'm not sleeping enough, I'm not this. You can rationalize to anything. You don't think for a second it might be the sweeteners. When she cut the sweeteners out, a couple days later, she was like, you know, this is weird. She goes, I really don't feel tired like that. I don't feel the pains. I don't feel the joint aches. She goes, it's really weird. I can't figure out what it is. And we started going through stuff because, of course, when something happens to your body, you want to know what it is because you want to know that A, you can replicate it, B, something's, you know, going right, so you want to know what you did that was right. And we figured it out. The sweeteners being pulled out of her diet made her stomach less bloated. It stays flatter. Her joints didn't hurt as much, and she didn't have that tired feeling all the time. Those things that I'm describing are what happens to you when you get poisoned. When you ingest poison, those things, those reactions, those symptoms happen to you. Now, granted, I'm not saying she was going to die from chewing gum, but the bottom line is little things you don't think about can have an effect on your body. And if you don't think that's, you know, that's true, look at the little things like alcohol, acetaminophen. Take 4 capsules of acetaminophen and see where you wind up in the hospital with fucking a liver failure. You wouldn't think 4 little capsules would do that to you, right? Well, now some people would because they understand what acetaminophen is and what it does to the body and the liver. But, you know, back in the day, nobody thought twice about popping acetaminophen. Advil completely can destroy your kidneys if you take enough of it. And I'm not talking about taking a whole bottle. I'm talking about taking like 4 to 6 tablets a day for a prolonged period of time. You're going to have kidney issues. You know, what was the other one? Sodium naproxen, ulcers, stomach ulcers. You can't take it for a long enough period of time. 1 tablet a day for 3 months and you have stomach ulcers. Like there's like an 80% chance you'll have a stomach ulcer. Like people don't think that these little things that are just common things that we have all around us that we're programmed to think are okay. You don't think that they can do damage to your body and health long-term wise. And a lot of you guys out there are like, I don't care, I don't care. Most of you are not getting blood work, okay? Most of you don't go to get checkups. Most of you don't get blood work. Let's say you don't care. It's not a big deal. Nothing's happening to you. And then when it does happen to you, you try to explain it off as something else. When basically you could have looked at it and said, the sweeteners, the chemicals in the foods, I could have controlled this and not wound up where I am now and not had to deal with the thing. So hopefully this will help some of you guys. Some of you guys are going to fall on deaf ears. You're not going to give a shit. And I get it. I mean, you're going to drink your diet drinks. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But bottom line is there are people out there that need this advice. They need to hear this. And they need to understand that just because the grocery store says it's okay or your mom and dad tell you it's okay, does not mean it's okay. BioStrengthTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostrength.com is the blog. It's the Not Okay Bicep, and we are